According to the Department of Education, 6.8 million borrowers had defaulted loans. Only 53% of people pay their student loan payments on time. That used to be okay, but it isn't anymore. The program that was allowing us not to pay our student loans on time and not have it go to our credit report, it was called On-Ramp, and that ended September 30th, 2024. If you don't pay the total balance due after 90 days, your loan servicer can report that missed payment to your credit agency. That's crazy. Student loans used to be considered good loans, but now we're at risk of having things reported to our credit agencies, just like other loans. And here's the thing, it can stay on your credit for up to 7 years, possibly impacting some of your life goals like qualifying for a home or other important milestones. There are so many things tied to our credit now, but don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to share some information to help you get your student loans out of default status, and I'll give you solutions so that your student loan is not reported to credit agencies. They're not calling you, they're not texting you, they're not doing wage garnishments. And you might be saying, it's not that serious. I missed a couple of payments, but I'm not defaulted on my loan. I'm not in delinquency status. Well, according to the Department of Education, 6.8 million borrowers had defaulted loans. That represents 15% of all borrowers. And you're like, well, I'm not a part of that 15%. I'm good. You're good now. But $5 does not spend the same way that it spent a year ago or 2 years ago. So paying back student loans is a little bit more challenging than it was a year ago or 2 years ago. So you'll start to see more people defaulting on their loans, and they don't have the information to know that these things are going to start being reported to credit agencies. And that's the thing, because once our credit is impacted, it's hindering us from achieving some other life goals. First, I want to talk to the people. They're like, I have no idea when I made my last student loan payment, or it's been a while since I made my last student loan payment. You're either in default status or you might be in default status. I'm talking to you right now. There's a program called loan rehabilitation, and it helps those who haven't made a payment for a while. You're in default status. Maybe you haven't checked. Maybe you're not sure. Go ahead, look up and see, hey, where do I stand? There's an opportunity that if you are in default status, for loan rehabilitation. What does it do? It removes the default record from your credit history. And here's the thing, there's no interest and no collections cost added through this program. Let's get into what the requirements are for this, okay? Now, I will say, you're gonna have to buckle up. It's gonna require some planning, it's gonna require some work, but it's much better than letting a default status hold you back from other life goals. We're not doing that. We have things that we are desiring. We have dreams and goals that we want, okay? And we have a vision. We're not gonna let this stop it. If you have a direct loan or a federal family education loan, you must do this. Agree in writing to make 9 voluntary, reasonable, and affordable monthly payments within 20 days of the due date. Second factor into this loan rehabilitation program is make all 9 payments during a period of 10 consecutive months. Now, you may be in a situation where your loan provider has already taken payments from wage garnishments. So you may say, well, okay, if they're already taking wage garnishments, can that count toward my 9 voluntary payments? They cannot be counted towards your 9 payments, but the silver lining is you'll see the wage garnishments continue to happen as you're making your voluntary 9 payments. But as you continue to make those voluntary 9 payments, you'll see the wage garnishments stop once you have made about 5 consecutive voluntary payments. Now, once you're all done, you did it. You made the 9 payments, your loan is out of default status. And remember with this, it said 9 voluntary, reasonable, and affordable monthly payments. So you're choosing this payment amount. So you don't have to put so much on yourself that prohibits you from being able to pay these things monthly. No. Pick a number that is reasonable, but pick a number that is affordable that you can pay monthly, so this can come off of your credit report. And for those of you whose loans aren't in default status, I still have some solutions for you to ensure that your loans don't go into default status. Especially with prices increasing and inflation, we're gonna need to have a plan to ensure that we don't let these loans fall by the wayside. All right, so you've done the rehabilitation, you've made your 9 voluntary, affordable monthly payments. Now the default status will be removed from your student loans. Also, collection of payments through wage garnishments will stop. Once you have made all 9 payments, your loan is out of default status. And remember with this, it said 9 voluntary, reasonable, and affordable monthly payments. So you're choosing this payment amount. So You will regain certain benefits as well that were taken away from you once your loans went into default status. Once your loans went into default status, you didn't have certain benefits such as deferment, forbearance, choice of repayment plan, and loan forgiveness. All of these things were taken away or will be taken away if your loans go into default status. And also through this rehabilitation, you'll be eligible to receive federal student aid in the future if you need. Key thing to note, if you default on your student loan again and you're like, well, I'll just go through loan rehabilitation to get it off of my credit history, you cannot do that. You can only do this loan rehabilitation one time. It is a one-time shot. Now, I mentioned that I would give a solution so that your loans never even go into default status, never even report it to credit agencies. We don't have time to be delaying our goals. Life adds enough curveballs on its own. We don't need to add extra. The solution is pay it off. I know. You're like, if I could pay it off, I would have done that a long time ago. But see, are you sure you can't? Have you looked at your budget to see how much you're spending on subscriptions, eating out, drinks, vacations? This one y'all aren't gonna like. Your kids' $4,000 AAU sports program that they may or may not be putting their full effort into. I'm all for keeping the kids active and engaged, but are there more affordable options that will allow them to still play, but still set them up for a bright future financially? We pay off the loans, we free up money to be able to invest in index funds and mutual funds, things that will make our money grow. Now let's talk about how we're gonna rearrange our money and also increase the income to pay these off. Yes, you'll start with the budget to see where you stand, to see the real deal of what's going on. I'll tell you personally, with me, I found an extra $600 in my budget when I was paying my student loans off. The clothes shopping, I didn't even wear everything for that season. The eating out, the nails, the boatload of subscriptions that I had, and other small things that were adding up. But here's the important part. I didn't see these things because I wasn't paying enough attention to my budget. I was very comfortable with the money that I was making. I had an idea of what was coming in and out, but it wasn't until I sat down and I saw just how much I was spending so that I could rearrange it and reprioritize to pay my student loans off. Over time, of course, but it allowed me to have a plan. And I couldn't have a plan if I didn't see where I stood. I honestly used to think I didn't have the money. I don't have the money to pay an extra $500, $600, $700 on my student loans. No. I just wasn't properly tracking my money. So get a budget, move some things around, and then allocate that money to paying off your student loans. And here, to speed it up, find a way to increase your income through a side hustle or a second job. I did this. I had a second job for about 3 months. Every 2 weeks, whole check went to paying off the student loans. But it all starts with the budget, to see where your money is going and strategically push it toward your student loans. This is my budget template that I use to track my money. It's my own budget template with various categories and subcategories, and you just plug your numbers in. And it has a savings tracker to help keep you motivated and on track with your savings goals. If you'd like to use the budget template that I used in this video for your debt payoff journey, I'll have a link in the description below. Thank you for watching, rooting for you, and I'll see you soon in another video.